Welcome to the Bonhams and Butterfields auction. I'm here with Dave Kinney, the author of Cars That Matter, pricing guide for collector cars. Thanks for being on the show, Dave.
Hey,
really
thanks
appreciate having you.
I appreciate your call.
Yeah, so tell me about Cars That Matter.
We started it we're in our third year right now. We publish 3 times a year. We do post-war cars, so 46 up. We do cars that aren't depreciating, but kind of our mantra is every car matters, but they don't all fit in the book.
Right.
So that's what we're doing.
Well, it's a small book, but it's a thick book, and there are no shortage of cars in this.
Yeah.
So this year at Pebble and the surrounding events, what are the really big ticket cars?
Right behind us, this Tavalago.
This
just
blue
sold,
one right here?
Yeah, $4.4 million plus the juice. So we're getting close to $5 million. And that's because the car never got painted.
Okay.
It's never had a lot of work done to it. And that's totally different than the way things were even like 4 and 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because what's happened is the market has matured, it's changed that much. If you were to go out and buy a Picasso painting and you took it to the guy down the street and you had him repaint it because it wasn't bright and stuff, it wouldn't be worth as much. And now we car guys have figured that out.
Well, is this a running, driving car?
Yeah.
Just unrestored?
Just unrestored, and that's what the market is really, really loving this year,
Wow.
last year, whatever. We call them preservation class cars, and we're going to start doing some stuff with them because they sell for more money than the ones that are fully restored.
Well,
which
by
is amazing.
comparison, what would a restored one get?
It's hard to say because they're all a little bit different. So I mean, but you could expect that you would pay no more than that for a fully restored car. So
why bother with the restoration?
Well, in some ways that's exactly right, man. Because if you spend the money to restore it, you don't necessarily get the money back, and now you really don't necessarily get the money back. But if it's ever been painted all the way, if it's ever had a new interior, it's no longer in that class.
Yeah.
That's why people are paying the big money for the ones that really have never been screwed with.
Have there been any real disappointments or real sinking in values of anything recently?
No, we're really into the season where we find that out. There's kind of 2 times in the year when we really have a lot of things to look at, and that's Scottsdale in January, and that's right here and right now. I'm kind of worried right now, let's say this is early, I'm kind of worried there's a lot of Ferraris on the market, and when a lot of anything comes on the market, that can be a tough row to hoe to get done. But right now, everything's still looking pretty good.
Well, and all those vintage Ferraris are such low production anyway, they're never really going to drop, right?
Well, they did drop once. I mean, we had the 80s where they just, they sunk like stones.
Yeah.
But I'm not worried about it like that, but, it could be a little bit of a market adjustment. We've seen muscle cars go down recently. Everybody's all worried about it, but really they went down to the level they were at 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, muscle cars, I'm not the expert you are, but I would say they've more settled out and they just went crazy for a year or 2.
Yeah, and I mean, keep in mind that where Ferrari built, 4,000 cars in this big period of time, Chrysler was building 4,000 cars in a week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's more of those. So that's
now,
part of the deal.
What about a lot of the brand new cars?
Yeah.
The Ferrari 430s and the Murcielagos and stuff like that. Do you think those kind of cars are going to become huge value collector cars later?
Well, it depends because cars depreciate when they're new. I mean, most everybody's used to that. But I'll give you 2 examples that really haven't. BMW Z8, which is a cool car.
Yeah, that's a weird phenomenon, isn't it?
I know. They started out, 120, whatever, and then they went down to 80.
They're getting 105 for them now.
That's exactly
all day.
right. You're watching the market. That's exactly right. Hey, bonus point. He shoots, he scores.
Yeah.
But anyhow, and the same thing with the Ford GTs.
Oh, yeah.
They cut off production for a lot of reasons, but they cut off productions before the cars were all done with the market. So they've held their value. But the Ferrari thing, there are some cars that are going to do better than others. Super America is a great example with the wild top. The top that folds into itself and all that sort of stuff. They've held their value really well. But maybe a 360 where they made a lot more of them.
75, 80 grand will get you a decent 360.
We watched them go down. I saw one as cheap as 50, but it had miles and miles
Yeah.
and miles on it, and the color wasn't exactly the best either.
Purple on purple with chrome rims.
It wasn't quite purple on purple, but it was in the genre.
They're really peddling this ex-Jerry Seinfeld Porsche GT2.
Right.
Celebrity ownership.
Yeah.
What does it do for the value?
Well, it depends on the celebrity. Now, Seinfeld's known for Porsches, and that's cool, so that will probably help. Okay.
So a Seinfeld-approved Porsche is going to be a good one. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, he owns the first and the last 911. I mean, he's got some very, very cool stuff, and he's a well-known guy. But sometimes the celebrity is a flash-in-the-pan celebrity. I mean, somebody who's like real big for a while or something like that. And they're
the lead singer for Devo won't help with values.
It would help with the hat, but not very much with the car. I mean, big on the sale of flower pots, But so Seinfeld, Porsche, probably yes.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that you got to say is celebrity is one thing, but notoriety is another. I mean, it's sad to say, but Hitler's Mercedes
and his auto union too,
right, is worth a lot. And Mussolini's wife's car, girlfriend's car, is worth a lot more than FDR's, Roosevelt's car, same era.
Oh, really?
Exactly.
Weird.
Because he's an evil bad guy, and it's Bruce Wayne's car is not as worth as much as Batman's.
The Al Capone Ford 3-window is the one to have.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's the sort of thing where notoriety is even more valuable most of the time than celebrity.
And what about racers? I mean, racers is huge, right?
Well, it's going to date me, but when I was a kid, you couldn't give away an old race car because nobody wanted them because you couldn't use them. Then all of a sudden, the vintage race events, which you know all about, the vintage race events have come in. And so with vintage racing, there was something to do with the cars. And so that's kind of the ticket. I mean, all of a sudden, all these cars that, had a cool history, but they sat around and did nothing, they weren't worth a lot of money. That changed overnight when the vintage racing came in.
What's also really cool is that these people are willing to still go out and race them. I mean, the $5 and $10 million GTOs
my wife went to Laguna Seca a couple of years ago when it was an all GTO race, and she's not a car person.
$1 billion on the racetrack.
She is not a car person, but she's going, and the names on the things, they're like, industrialists and all this sort of stuff, and famous people and stuff like that. And she's watching them drive in anger, and she's thinking, that could be a $30 million accident. And I mean, and it didn't happen.
And it happens sometimes.
It sure
does.
Yeah, they rub fenders. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's kind of like our rent-a-car, though. I mean, if we had an accident in a rent-a-car, it'd probably be the same to these guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, just stroke a check.
Well, Larry Miller from Miller Motorsports Park said they blew a motor in his Daytona Cobra. And he's like, put a new motor in,
Well, yeah. When you got the coin, you can do that.
Exactly.
But, and that's fun, though. But, I mean, it's really great, for those guys like us who can't afford them, it's great to see them out on the street. Because when they're locked in the garage, it's doing nobody any good.
Buy a painting.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I don't want to hold you to it.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's going to happen in the market.
Okay, I'm going to cross my fingers.
Cross your fingers and do not place your bets specifically on this.
Really?
What do you see as in the next couple of years coming up as being some of the bigger ticket items?
Well, bigger ticket, I see more and more of these preservation cars coming up. I mean, they're hard to find. You can't recreate them. You can only have original once. I mean, that's one thing. Some of the cars that people should look out for, believe it or not, are cars that, I mean, if you wanted to invest right now in a car, I'd be looking at really nice Volkswagen GTIs, first gen.
Really?
Yeah, I'd be looking at Honda.
I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be looking at Honda CRXs. I mean, because you can buy them for nothing. I mean, they're dirt. They're, the nicest one in the world, what, $8,000, something like that? Well, look at the impact they had. I mean, look at what those cars were. Wow. I mean, when I was a kid, like when I became a teenager, it was Mustangs. It was all about Mustangs and stuff like that. So you got to look for the cars that people wanted.
So the inspirational imports, then.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And just 10 years ago, people were saying, well, there'll never be a collectible Japanese car. They always the little asterisk was always the Toyota 2000 GT. Whatever. Yeah. Look what's happened to 240Zs.
Yeah.
I mean, they're $25,000, $30,000 cars when they're nice. That raises the boat, so 260Zs are worth more, and I've even seen some prices go up on 280Zs.
Fair warning, ladies and gentlemen, $4,500,000, all done, all finished. You're at the motor car, sir. It's going back
Next New Networks, exclusive video partner for the Web 2.0 Expo, September 16th through the 19th. Garage419 fans save $100 with our exclusive code.